Good evening. Welcome to Tuesday Night Rotor Talk Live, Season 2, Episode 30. Very special guest, Tommy Polo. We're going to get to Tommy in just a minute. I want to greet everybody that's here tonight. Larry Boggs, Drone Shots, Art Code Drone Solutions. Welcome, Art. Doug Crum, Parks and Tech. Welcome. Want to thank Ron Brown for inviting me to co-host last night with him on ZinoNation. As you know, and still keep Marcus in your thoughts and prayers, as he's just coming back from attending his mom's memorial service. So that's why Marcus isn't here with us tonight. He's my other excellent co-host. So just keep thinking of him. He's taken kind of a vacation, so well deserved, and well done, Marcus. And we look forward to welcoming you back when you're ready. A couple of other items of note. We're going to be spending most, if not all of tonight talking about the FT Aviator. Coming up after, probably either later tonight or first thing in the morning, I'm going to release my video on the testing. It's about a 25-minute video. It's really long for me, but bear with it because I think you guys will really enjoy it. It's going to be a good one. Want to also look forward to what was I going to say? My mind completely went blank. And if you stick around, I'm not going to tell you when, I have a $50 off discount code for the FT Aviator. I'm not going to tell you when I'm going to reveal it, so you guys got to stick through the broadcast here. So with all that, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to have Ron do, there was one big item of note today as far as the FAA is concerned, and I'm going to let Ron go ahead and share that with you. So go ahead, Ron.
Thank you, Bill, and I want to welcome everybody to our special edition of Aviator Nation tonight. Right, Bill?
Yes, I like that.
And and I want to thank my good friend Tom for coming on. He's had the Aviator in his hands longer than most, so he's our Aviator expert on this panel. So yeah, thanks for joining us. I'm just using the word expert, jokingly, whatever. Hate to have that attached to it, but as Bill alluded to, there's a big proof come out for hobbyist drone pilots today. The FAA has expanded the Lance protocol to hobbyists now. So as of today, they can use these three apps: Kitty Hawk, US Sidekick, and Air Map to get permission from a tower or a controller to fly in semi-restricted airspace. So I've looked at the Air Map just briefly before we started the show, and I couldn't get signed in, so I didn't really see where you could do it in the app. But I'm going to dig into that maybe tomorrow. Maybe make a little video of how they use the Lance stuff in Air Map. But anyhow, thought that was big news for anybody who somebody like Bill Thomas, who he lives in a restricted area, and it kind of really hurt him for flying because he couldn't call the tower anymore over the last couple of months that they put these new restrictions in. So that's good news for everybody. So I'm going to throw it back to Bill to kind of start things off on the evening.
Okay, well, without any further ado, I'm going to introduce our very special guest. He's no stranger to Ron, as he lives with a fairly close distance to Ron, and he's no stranger to me. And also, if you have seen Drone Owners Network live on Saturdays, you probably have seen him already. Tommy Polo, welcome to the show tonight. It's a pleasure to have you on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into drones, and how you got hooked up with that fantastic Curtis Dart?
Well, I mean, that could be a whole episode in itself.
Yes, it probably could.
But first, I want to thank you, Bill, for having me on. I really appreciate it, and of course, Ron, thank you too. Ron and I go back. We go back about half a year, maybe almost, off and on. It was over his stomping grounds tonight, playing around with the Aviator with my son. Cool. This thing is awesome. Yeah, but a little quick background. About 3 years ago, I started flying a little toy store drones. Wow, this is really neat. I checked out some YouTube videos trying to learn a little more, and then I stumbled into FPV. So FPV, I don't know if you see behind me, that kind of took over for a little bit with the racing quads. It's a lot of fun with the goggles and total immersion. It's great. Still doing that, still like that. And then, but in the middle of that, I still kind of got an itch for it. Well, I mean, them cameras, they take some nice pictures. So I went out and got a Phantom 4 Pro, the version 2 one. I'm having a blast with that. So then, of course, the bug bit even harder. I went out, got my 107 certificate. And then all the while, I mean, social media is really the only real in-depth source for information for all this stuff. I mean, you find so many guys that know so much, from just how to put your props on to diving into the electronics and how to you got to reprogram this and do that and solder this and solder that. It's great. But yeah, you end up in a couple of closed, super secret closed Facebook groups, that kind of thing, and found Curtis lurking around in there. Curtis is a great guy. I mean, me and him, we got the same sense of humor. He's in what, Oregon? He's in Seattle, so he's on one coast. I'm in New Jersey on the other coast. But I mean, we work together real good. So he invited me onto Drone Owners Network, and that took off. He had me on as a news guy. And if you've seen him, I'm not as smooth as Ron is with the news, but I stumble through and get some information out. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a hobby, it's a lifestyle. It's just a ton of fun. But that's how I got in with that. And then of course, running into Ron, then I ran into you and ran into all kinds of other people.
Well, I got a big kick out of you saying Curtis sneak. Curtis does not sneak. Okay, I don't think that word exists in the English language. Curtis does not sneak. Okay, no Curtis, problem. You're out there. We love you. We love you. So just kind of had to throw that in. Tommy, if you would like, I know we're going to dive into the FT Aviator, but I think one of the things right away, and I know you had posted a picture of your son using the FT Aviator. And I know you got a clip that you'd love to share with us. I would absolutely love to start the show off with that, because I'll tell you what, I absolutely love seeing kids getting, hooked on drones. And I've already told my 2-week-old granddaughter when she's getting her first drone. So
nice. She is beautiful, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. But yeah, let me get that up. He did. We went out tonight. He did great. He loves it. But he did. We did have are we sharing now? I'm sorry, I'm not super familiar with this. But, okay.
Over to the left where it has screen share.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a pop-up that says entire screen, but the share button is shaded out.
Okay. I may have to be the one to share something like that. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, you probably just have that. You probably don't even have that as a URL. So anyway, okay, we're gonna go again. Yeah, we'll get started here. Now, Tommy's had the FT Aviator for a while. I've had it all. Well, I had it about 3 or 4 days before we came back from Ohio, and I had it out. Got it set up and did my first full day of testing on Saturday, and got a video coming out on that either later tonight or tomorrow. But Tommy, I wanted to go ahead and right off the bat, what are some of your impressions of the FT Aviator? From let's start with unboxing, what comes with it, and getting it set up. Not so much necessarily physical setup, but getting the app to pair with the controller and all that kind of stuff.
Well, all right, yeah, no, that'd be good. It actually I got the box, open the box up. Open it up, and then here it was laying in its little cradle all in its glory. And it's impressive just to open up and look at it. It's like, wow, look at this thing. And then you pick it up and you get the feel for it. And you slide your thumb into the thumb strap, and it's almost like you can tell an astronaut came up with this. Scott Parazinski, he's an amazing guy. He's an astronaut, he's a physician, he's a surgeon, he's super accomplished. I don't know how anybody could fit all that in a lifetime, but he did it, and he's not old. So, but he come up with this. I mean, this thing is neat. I mean, it's like it's almost you almost expect it to be overwhelming, but it's not. It's very simple. I mean, it's you got to take off, you got your land, you got your power. Just the ease of use. I mean, you got this is forward, this is backwards, this is pitched or roll to the left, roll to the right, and your yaw, and that's it. And then your throttle is the trigger, and the dethrottle is your thumb. And it just makes so much sense. It's almost too easy. I mean, I wish I could show that video because my son tried before with the 2 sticks. He could do it, he could move, he could this, but he gets the confidence level is not, he's not used to it. It's not natural. I put this in his hands tonight for the first time, and he just, Dad, can I kick it up to 5? It was like right after he just had it over. You got a knob here with speed controls. You got the tortoise in the hair, just like your lawnmower for real slow, kind of almost like a tripod mode, and then like all the way up to like sport mode. But I started him out on number 1. He actually even said he wants to start out number 1, and no more than he go forward, backward, and he wanted. Can I try 5? I said, yeah, go ahead. And he did, and 30 seconds into it, he's doing figure 8s in a parking lot, whereas before he could only move in a straight line, forward, backward, left, and right, and then hand me the controls and say, I don't want to do it anymore. So I mean, for a 9-year-old to catch it like that. And he did. He took the whole battery. He took the whole 25 minutes from me. He was like, "Go ahead, dude, take it." But he was having a blast. I didn't want to take it from him. The low battery warning's coming off, and I'm like, "You know what, dude? Bring it in and land it." And he did. He brought it right down, and he had to line it up because we were in a parking lot at Triton High School where Ron likes to go. He wanted to land it right on the middle number of the 107 parking spot. And I'll be damned if he did not land it right on the 0 of the 107. He did. He's like this. He's watching. He's looking. He's like, all right. And he pushes his thumb down, and the thing just sets down and shuts off. Good job,
wow.
dude.
Wow. See, well, you know what you need to do, Tom, is you probably need to put that out on your channel, and then when you get it out there, we'll definitely share it. I mean, that definitely sounds like a video that I think would just work wonders for a lot of people.
I'll definitely get that up there. He had a blast.
One of the things that and this is one of the things that I found out, and I don't want to spoil my video too much, but one of the things that I found out was, and tell me, you probably experienced this yourself, is if you're resting your hand on the joystick at all, your drone's still moving. Okay, you need to take your hand when you want it to completely stop. You need to take it off there. I mean, it's just like I'm wondering why the drone's still going, and it's just like, duh, my hand's still on the stick. It was just. But I have to say this, and I was overflowing on my video about this, and I'm not going to say too much more about my video. But the gimbal tilt on there, it was like a cinematic tilt. Okay, when it would pan down, it was buttery smooth. I mean, I even use those words in the video. It was just buttery smooth as it would go down. I mean, it was just it wasn't that radical, just going down. It was just. And then because it was on a rocker, it's on a rocker control.
It's right in the front.
Yeah,
it's right nice. In the front. It makes sense because it's up and down.
Up and down. It's just absolutely positively crazy. Now, one of the things that I did was I mounted mine on my Amazon tripod, and you can see right here. There's the hole for it. And I'll tell you what, it was absolutely perfect because I kept it at a comfortable level and standing there, and it was effortless. I mean, it really truly was effortless when I was using it out there. I mean, it really, in the battery life on this, I mean, it stayed. I mean, I went through my complete battery on my Mavic 2, and it stayed like on the highest bar, and it never got off the highest bar. I mean.
It won't for a long time.
Yeah,
I went through when we were talking on Droners Network. I think off camera we were talking about battery life, or it might have been on camera. But I think that thing's rated for almost 30 hours before you have to recharge it.
Yeah, Scott was saying when I had him on the show, he was saying something like, you can go for like 2 or 3 days, and you won't have. And I tell you what, and see, here's something that I'll say that I think is a huge plus is that battery life. Because when the thing that can kill your joy more than anything for me, when I'm using a smart controller, say for example, and because it's I think it's one of DJI's greatest accessories they've ever come out with. But the thing that gets me is, when you're running a screen recorder and doing all this stuff, it sucks that battery life right down. So I mean, it's just like the first thing I do, I'm letting my batteries cool off after flying, but the first thing I do is I get my smart controller hooked up and charging and ready to go for another round for the next day, because that thing just it sucks up battery. But this does not. I mean, it's just like the Energizer Bunny. It just keeps going. I mean, I can't say enough about it.
Hey, I got a question for Tom. So you talked about your son picking it up and almost getting it right away. So you could definitely recommend this to somebody new to drones, somebody who has never really flown before.
I would, yeah. I mean, if it would definitely hook them in. I think without a doubt, if you put the traditional radio in their hands and then handed them this, they're gonna go for this every time.
Okay.
It's also especially nice if somebody wants to fly, if somebody like say disabled, handicapped somehow, and this is one-handed, it could be just completely one-handed operation. You can fly, and it's real nice. There's been a couple guys that, I think there was one guy, I think he was paralyzed on his left side or something, but the smile on his face when he was able to grab this thing and fly it, and it was just like, I don't even know who it was, but it almost brought a tear to my eye. It was like, wow, look, this guy's something that he wanted to do, and now he can do it.
Right. Okay. Now I know this. I'm going to ask you a tough question. Now I know you've only had limited time with the Aviator, but between the Aviator and your standard Phantom 4 Pro controller, if you had to fly an important job, we'll say a paid job, whatever, you had to grab one controller to get that job done, which controller would you grab?
Well, is this my question or Bill's?
Your question.
My question? Well, that you know what? That's actually a tough one. I mean, I'm very comfortable with the two sticks. I feel good with that. But in all honesty, if it came down to it, if I didn't grab it, I would at least strongly consider it. Like, and that's only because I don't have as much time on it. I think, like, you give me another week with it, I might be like, yeah, but the other thing, I'm using this. But it does have to be tethered, so you do have to have both present. So, I mean, if they were both there, I probably would grab this. I'd be like, you know what? If I need that, I'll grab that, and I would play with the Aviator first.
Ron, let me go ahead and I'm going to answer that too, Ron. And I think Tommy brought up a good point. But one of the things with this is, and I want to kind of hone in on this is the speed settings. And I know Tommy talked about this, but I tell you what, when it's on what they call I call it the tortoise, and all the way up to the hare. When you have it on the tortoise, I think that's actually slower than tripod mode. And the thing that I really like about this, and that I think that this is ideal for, if you need 100% precision flying on this, if you're doing, say, a roof inspection or a tower inspection or something, you could have it on that very first setting. And I'm telling you what, you're going probably no more than 3 miles an hour on that. But your movements are absolutely positively precise. So if I'm doing a paid job with this, I wouldn't hesitate. Now I want to get more experience with it, obviously, but I wouldn't hesitate doing it. And see, for me, what actually helped me was, when I was flying, I had my controller was sitting on top of my hot tub for the Mavic 2. So I mean, that made it, I had a place to put it. And I mean, you could get creative. I had my tripod when I was using it. You could, maybe get some Velcro, fashion something and stick your controller on that. So it'll go there. And the cord that they supply with it is actually, it's a very generous length on that. That's one thing that I really like with that. I'm sorry, you were going to say something wrong. Go ahead.
No, Bill, I'm glad you jumped in. I didn't mean to not get your thoughts on it, but I got a tough question for you, Bill. You ready?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, now, being just you said, now, I don't think everybody in the audience knows this. The ultimate sacrifice you have to make, Bill, is when you use the Aviator, you cannot use your smart controller. Is that correct?
That's correct. You can't use a smart controller with this. So, for me, okay, I think the only thing that I would lose with that would be being able to use that in the sun. That's the one thing that I think for me, I mean, I'm using my Galaxy Note 8, which actually has, it has real high nits on it, which is great. But out in the sun, it's not going to work. I mean, it's just like, I'd have to have a sun shield or something for that. So, that's one thing. And that's not the FT Aviator's fault. That's, you have to probably, get creative with something like that. So, you're not going to be able to use the smart controller, true. But I have to say this, while we're getting into this, I also want to talk about the app, the FT Aviator app itself. It has the almost same look and feel of the DJI Go 4 app. I mean, everything is, it looks the same. It acts the same. It's just, I just absolutely, positively love it.
Hey, Bill,
can I jump in real quick?
Go for it, Tommy.
I'm looking in the chat and I'm noticing, like, somebody said, you can't use a crystal sky with this, something about the tethering. Well, what the way this thing kind of sets up is, I understand what you're saying where you can't use certain things with it, but what happens, like what was my thing with the Phantom is I'll have my Phantom controller and I got the iPad Mini 4 on it, and I'll have that all set up like I'm going to fly it, but I just set it down in front of me. Then I have this. This is Bluetooth connected. It's not like you're not wired with this unless you have the phone attachment. Then you have to have the wire going to the phone. But like when I fly, like this is how I fly, just like this. And I'll just have it in front of me. So if you have a controller with a crystal sky set up and all that kind of, you can still use that. You have full range of all the camera controls here, but you can also, if you want to touch the screen, I mean, I just kind of, while I'm flying over here. So I just didn't want, like, just in case there was any kind of confusion, just because of some of the things I was noticing. I just wanted to.
No, that's good, Tommy. Thank you for bringing that up, because I think a lot of people, they think because, as you can see, I have the smartphone holder that's attached to it here, and I think that's one of the things that people were saying right away. Oh, you have to use this, and it's going to be cumbersome and everything. And, thank you for bringing that up, because that really brings up a good point, because I think a lot of people's, one of the big reactions that I got from my unboxing and setup was, they're looking at it and seeing how cumbersome it is. Okay. And, my initial, what are your thoughts for something like that, Tommy, regarding that?
For being cumbersome, it does. I think before you actually have your hand on it, it does kind of look like, oh wow, how's that gonna like it does, but then once you do it, like I said, I mean, it's no more than your normal setup. Then it's just, you're just adding that. To me, it's nothing. I think it's great, because I like I said, I could sit the thing in front of me. I could just kind of kick back in a beach chair and just fly.
Well, see, this is good stuff, Tom, because I watched Kelly Shores from Ready Set Drones video just yesterday, and he had he had the camera attachment on. He was holding the regular controller. I mean, like you said, you used the word cumbersome a couple times. He had all this gear all over him. I don't know how he held all that stuff for the flight. And I'm thinking, I never want to do all this stuff that Kelly Shores is doing to be there with all this stuff hanging and holding and whatever. So I'm glad you pointed that out.
Some people might like that. I don't know, but I want to actually throw in there. This is a Velcro strap that comes with the Aviator. Now, I had no idea. I'm like, what do I do with this thing? But here, this is specifically for the Mavic controller, the actual, where your lanyard would go through on that would go through here, and then you replace that lanyard spot with this, or maybe that's not right. I don't have a Mavic controller, so I don't know. But whatever it is, this goes around the original controller, and this must be where the wire goes.
Okay.
But this will hold the Mavic controller on your chest while you can have the wire going to the Aviator by your arm there. So the Phantom controller you can't physically hold around your neck and do that. But
okay, Lauren Donner said regarding Crystal Sky, he said, no, you can't, Tommy. You need the program, which is not available on Crystal Sky.
Okay, that part. Then thank you for clarifying that. I apologize for that. I didn't know that the app is not. I guess the app's not available on that.
I'm wondering, because because and here's the thing, and this is real interesting, and I just had this thought. Obviously, it's on Google Play because I had it on my Android device, and obviously it's on the Apple and Apple Store. But iPad Mini, my iPad Mini 4. I mean, it would be out there because it's the same store, and it'd be real interesting. And I think that's something that's a good thing that Bill will be trying this weekend, is to see if it works with the iPad Mini. I think that would be great. Having more real estate for me. Granted, this is a good size, but when you're out there doing stuff, for me, I don't know about you guys, and I know Ron and I are about the same age, but Tommy, your eyes are probably better than ours. It's having more real estate is always good, and especially when it comes to a screen, as far as that's concerned.
And plus,
when you do put it on, oops, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Tom.
I was just throwing real quick, when you bring it up on the iPad, when you bring the app up, look for the arrows to make it bigger, because it'll show up this big at first, and then it'll be bigger. Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
And not only eyes but if you have fat fingers, it's easier to hit the buttons on an iPad Mini than is the smaller version of the buttons on the phone. One quick thing I want to bring up, and maybe you could confirm this, Tom. I think it was Ken Herron said in his video, if any point you want your regular controller to take back over again from the Aviator, you hit the sport mode button on the original Phantom 4 transmitter, and that immediately puts control back to that transmitter rather than the Aviator. Have you tried that yet?
It does want you to be in P mode when you're flying with the Aviator.
Okay.
And if you do come out, like, even if you hit the switch by accident, it doesn't lose anything like that. But it will give you an error message, a visible message will pop up. I forget exactly what it says, but it'll pop up and tell you, fluidity controller lost, and then you got to go back to, and it'll pick right up. You can also choose too. There's just two little dots on one looks like the Aviator, and the other one looks like the Phantom controller. And if you just wanted to put that down and take a rest, you hit the button that looks like the Phantom controller, and it switches right over to it. And then you can switch back to if you wanted.
Right. So it's kind of a safety feature almost. If you're having a problem with the Aviator, you can just go right back to the controller works the way you expect it to work. Good to know.
Well, one of the other things that was real interesting here, that I had to note, obviously, using it for the first time, the auto takeoff and the auto land here. What's real interesting is, when you press this, I expected it to just, go ahead and do it, but no, it comes up on the app. It says, "Do you wish to auto takeoff?" It kind of like has a double thing, and yeah, I do, and I slid it, and it took off. I was kind of like, I'm pressing the button. I'm like, okay, I pressed the button. How come it's not taking off? And then I looked at the app, and I'm like, oh, well, it's asking you to take off. Do you want to take off? Yes or no? What was real interesting, Tommy, is, and you'll probably see it, when I get my video out. Where my landing pad is, it's real near my hot tub. And what I found real interesting was the first few times that I flew it, when it's coming in to do a return to home landing, and I want to leave it go by itself, it stops probably about 3 feet. It automatically, because of the Mavic 2 Pro, it reorients the gimbal so it's not pointing down, so it won't cause any damage to the front of the camera. And then it just stops there. And I think I figured out the reason for that. It's because my proximity sensors are going off. All right. And it's just like it won't go down anymore. So I have to hit the bar, and then it'll finally land itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I ended up finding after that. But normally, and this always, it impresses me too, is when it did do a precision landing, it was spot on. I mean, it was just as good as it was when I'm using a smart controller or I'm using the regular controller. It was just spot on with that.
Yeah.
Bill, to the chat room for a minute. Not only Lauren, but we have Ronald also in here. Both of them seem to prefer the brightness of the of the crystal sky over, the advantages the Aviator has. So, I can see that being a big concern for many people that are using the crystal sky or the smart control, that bright screen is more important than the more precise control. So, it looks like the device won't be for everybody, but, I certainly think it has its place.
I wouldn't be surprised if they start looking into making it work somehow. Like, I would keep an ear open for updates, fellas. They're constantly looking to improve this thing. So your pleas may reach the right ears.
True, Tommy. Just because, again, a company like this, if they get the hardware right, they can always improve it with firmware updates down the road. We've seen that with many drones over the past years, like the Paranafi, that, that smart control a year from now may be much more capable than it is today. Today's early days for it. So again, I think you're right. These people should hang in there with their crystal skies and smart controllers that it may be able to do that,
Yeah.
Lauren just pointed out in the chat, Scott has said that a crystal sky version is in the future. So that's fantastic news. That really is
good.
That's, two of the things, and I was thinking about this because, I got a lot of comments is, I don't see that this is for me. This has a limited type of, audience as far as that's concerned. And, and I disagree. And here's the people that I think it's going to be good for. Okay. Number one, I mentioned, people that need precision, absolute spot on control of their drones. Now, let's take a look at what drones this controls. This goes up from the Mavic Air all the way up to the Matrice 600, I believe. So there's a wide swath of drones that this will control. And imagine being able to control and inspire with something like this. And you have it in the tortoise mode where it's going super slow, and you need to get a cinematic shot. You can do this, and you're not having to flip both the joysticks doing this. You have one, and you're able to do that. So it's going to come in handy not only for professional videographers and photographers, but line inspections. It's going to come in handy for roof inspections, for shooting real estate video. I mean, it's as far as a business is concerned, I see that this is something that's huge for them. And I'm also going to say probably the other good customer base this is going to be for will be for disabled. Look at Art. What Art has to go through to get out to fly a drone. And Art, God bless you. I saw your video last year, and it did bring a tear to my eye on what you do. You truly love to be able to fly drones, and we wanted to help you out, and I was happy that the drone community got together and was able to do that. If you watch Mike, I know Mike's in the chat tonight, what he has to go through to get outside to fly a drone. It's important. And I had a couple of other people who were regulars. I haven't seen them for a while, but they both only had use of one hand. One didn't have one arm, and the other one's arm had arthritis and couldn't use that. So people with physical disabilities, this is going to open up a whole new world for them. And I know Mike, and forgive me for talking about you, Mike, but and I absolutely love your channel and love your videos. And if you haven't checked out Mike Roach's channel, please do so. Mike does a great job. And I know it's not for you, Mike. I know because you had talked about that. But, for people that really, can do the fine movements, that can do that, and need that assistance, it's going to be invaluable, for people, other people maybe have arthritis and things like that. And also, and here's another example. Okay. Tommy talking about his son, how easy it was for him to be able to fly this. And this is going to open up drones to a whole new segment of people, some younger children. How old's your son, Tommy?
He's 9.
He's not. See, that's just fantastic because, it's, dexterity and things take a while to get developed. And he's at that age right now where, it's coming for him, but it's going to take some time. But being able to get up there and to be able to do that, I'm sure he had a smile on his face I probably could have seen in Florida when he was doing that the other night. I mean,
I can't wait to have him out again.
Oh
He can't
yeah,
wait. We both can't wait.
Hey, Bill, I got an update from the chat.
Okay.
When you were talking about the Aviator working with the Aspire and stuff, Ethan Mitchell said, and Jesse said, no love for my Spark AOL. I got an update for Ethan. If you go to Aviator's website, they don't promise. They say they're trying to get the Aviator to work with the Spark and even the Tello. Can you imagine flying the Tello with that thing?
You know, Tommy brought up a good point. Stay tuned and watch for things. And one of the things that I can tell you about Fluidity Technologies, they are very responsive to feedback. I know from talking with Scott there, they want feedback. They want to know things. They want to know what they need to do to make this a better product. In fact, Scott was saying, he was personally testing these before they would go out, each one of them. And, you just don't hear that from a lot of people. This just isn't something that you see, a CEO of a company doing. But Scott is so into this and so devoted to it that he wants to make sure that it's a great experience for everybody. And I can't, right off the bat, that just really impressed me, guys, when I heard Scott saying that.
He's very, very passionate about this. I mean, after talking with him personally and stuff, I've never seen anybody like I mean, of course he's absolutely proud of what he's done, but he wants to throw it out there and just say, tell me what you want from it. Like the whole team is extremely responsive. They love the feedback, good, bad, otherwise. They want to know. He's very passionate about putting out like the best that he can put out. It's good stuff.
Hey Tom, when we had Scott on this show a few weeks back, you mentioned spin up to him. He wasn't aware of it, so when we brought it up to him, he thought it was a good idea. So he plans on attending now. So
oh, good.
And I hoping to meet him in person at the spin up event. Have you considered going to the spin up event?
Where is it?
It's in Austin, Texas.
Oh wow! When is it?
October.
Go ahead, Ron.
You do the date, Bill. All I know is October.
October 19th.
October 19th.
October 19th. Would that be a stretch? But man, that would be neat. It would be amazing to meet him. That would be really cool.
Well, Scott said his son lives in Austin. So it's kind of like a double purpose for him because he's in Houston, and I don't know proximity.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it's that far of a trip between Houston and Austin. So,
I don't know,
yeah, I think that would be fantastic if Scott could get out there. I mean, in one of the things that I think is so good about getting the Aviator out, to like, obviously, Tommy has it. I have it right now for testing purposes. Being able to get it out in our hands is great exposure, and being able to see some of these things and to get some of this initial feedback that we're getting and be able to pass that on to Scott and his crew at Fluidity, because like Tommy said, they really want this. They want this feedback. They want to make sure that this is going to be a great experience for you. And I can tell you, and you'll see in my video when I do post it, it was fun. I mean, it brought back to me like I'm flying a one of those EA games had some of those flight simulators, like flying an F-15 or an F-16, and the Microsoft flight simulator and everything. It was like that again, but here I am. I'm really flying something, okay, and it's really responding. It's like Tom Cruise, look out, okay, here comes Top Gun kind of thing. It was just so much fun out there. It really was. It made it a much different experience, and I really like that. And I think one of the things you need to remember is, if you don't want to use a smartphone holder, you don't have to use that, okay? That's one of the things. And the other thing is, take advantage of this, and mount this on a tripod, and I can tell you, and you'll see from my video when I post it, is how much easier it was just to have this here. I didn't have to hold it in my hand, okay? It was here. I had it right here, which was fantastic. I really, really liked that. It made it just such a different experience for me, and so easy. I mean, I didn't have to. I mean, when I was when I was done flying, or when I was done, got where I wanted to go, and I was doing something in my video, I didn't have to hold my hand with it. I had it mounted on that tripod, which I think for me, it made a big difference. On a $19 tripod, you couldn't beat that. It really isn't.
Hey, Bill, Steve Carpenter dropped the link for Spin Up in the chat just for so anybody that doesn't know the details about Spin Up, check Steve Carpenter's link, and it'll be all the dates, times, ticket prices, and so on. Thanks for doing that, Steve.
And Steve also mentioned too, Jeff Sills is coming from Houston. Make sure. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's a good thing. I'm glad Steve knows that. So, also, one of the other things that I wanted to say before we kind of close things up here on the FT Aviator, and yes, I will reveal a discount code for the FT Aviator before we get off the air tonight, and it is for $50 off. So, this was provided to me by Fluidity Technologies. I want to say that, and I also want to say, there is no, there's no kickback on this. I don't make a dime off of this. I'm here to help support just a fantastic guy with a great company with a fantastic vision. And I tell you what, we talked to Scott off camera, and I will say this, okay? Here's a man who has gone into space, outer space 5 times, 7 spacewalks, the most dangerous spacewalk ever, has climbed Mount Everest, okay, is an accomplished physician, surgeon, has written articles ad nauseum. But you know what? He was like, not pretentious at all. He's like, as my parents used to say, good folk. Okay. Scott's a very real personable person. Okay. And I'll tell you what, Tommy, and Ron, I tend to really like to gravitate towards people like that. It just makes such a difference in the way he's running his company. I mean, he wants this to be a great experience for everybody, and he wants to hear about it, and he wants to know these things. So, I can't say enough about him.
Bill, I just dropped the link in the chat to the Fluidity's website, the FT Aviator. Actually, the link to where you can buy from. Currently, it's $349.99. It has $449.99 crossed out, so it's apparently on sale now for $100 off. Now, your coupon would take another $50 off and bring it down to $299. Is that correct, Bill?
That is correct. And I'm going to go ahead. You know what? Let's go ahead and post that now. How's that? I'll go ahead and get that up on the screen.
It'll be right near my link to the buy button on their website. If too bad Marcus Crawford wasn't here, he may get a second one.
Okay, let's go ahead.
If you don't know, Tommy, Marcus has a tendency to hit the buy button if he hears about a good deal right on the air.
Oh no! Oh yeah.
There's your
saving himself.
There is your code. It's FTA $50 BILL. It's nice. FTA $50 BILL. So that's your code for $50 off of the FT Aviator. So I got to thank and I would be remiss right now. I'm going to go ahead and stop that. I would be remiss right now. I want to thank Scott and all his staff at Fluidity for giving me entrusting me with being able to test this. And I also got to put a huge shout out to Mr. Curtis Dart, because I know he helped make this possible as well. So I'm looking forward to and I'm looking forward to getting out this weekend and doing some more testing with it. I'm going to be using the Phantom 4 Pro this weekend, and also trying the iPad Mini 4 with it as well too. So that should be some fun. And and Tommy, of course. I mean, I'd be very remiss. Oh, by the way, Tommy, is your wife's name Beth?
Yes.
Okay, she was in the chat tonight. I don't know if you saw.
Hi, honey. Hello.
I saw. My wife will sneak in every now and then as well too. So.
Bill,
she didn't have any negative reviews. That's why I didn't say it.
Steve, I don't know how long it's good for, but I would say for the foreseeable future, I'll get some feedback and I'll post it on Bill the Drone Reviewer for how long, if there's an expiration for it. but assume that it'll work for at least a few days here. So I'll get some feedback from some of the folks at Fluidity, and I'll post that and let you know.
Thank you.
Awesome. So okay, we're going to kind of switch gears here a little bit. I know we had a great time talking about the Aviator, and we could probably spend the rest of the show doing this. But recently, Hey Kesterlu put out an article about the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 coming out, and the DJI would start producing it again, I think in October or so. And one of the things that really kind of amped that up a little bit was DJI has released a beta firmware update that I'm currently now testing for the DJI Smart Controller, and that includes the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0. And I wanted to get Tommy's thoughts and Ron's thoughts on this and see what you guys think. Are we going to see a little bit of a resurgence of the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0? And with all this, what are you guys' thoughts with this?
You want to go, Tommy, or want me to take it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah. I want to hear what you. I want to go off of you.
Well, this story's been it's been around a lot about of course we all know that the supposedly the reason there are no Phantoms available right now is because of the whole parts scandal where people at DJI were buying parts from the parts company and they were inflating the prices and stealing the extra money. So DJI cut that supplier off because they were in league with these people. So anyhow, but rumors have popped up that DJI signed a new supplier for the parts they need to make the Phantom 4 Pro V2, and that we may see it, October or the end of the year, because DJI has so many kind of enterprise things going on now that they need the Phantom for that the Mavic's not capable of, or not as capable of, and I just took that as kind of rumors. Of course, you see that type of stuff, but just twice in the past week or 10 days. Phantom 4 batteries have become available from DJI, which they haven't been available for a while. So if they have the parts necessary to produce new batteries, maybe that does lead a little credence that they're going to have parts to build new Phantom 4 V2.0 drones. And and if people are right about a Phantom 5 is never coming, I mean, why not? The Phantom 4 V2, they could have easily called that the Phantom 5 or whatever. But I think there's a good chance of it happening. Tommy, what do you think?
I think I agree. I think like as I think Lauren just mentioned that the batteries are available again. I don't know. See, I kind of thought. I mean, the Mavic's awesome. I mean, especially with its portability. I mean, it's like you said, it's almost as functional as the Phantom. But for some reason, I feel like the Phantom is a necessary step from the Mavic to the Inspire. Like it just seems like too much of a leap to me for to go from one to the other. Like the Phantom just has that. I guess it's because of what we come to know, but it has that like that professional, like you show up to a job and you pull that, it's like, okay, that dude's doing work. Not like, okay, well, that's he's just going to take a picture, or holy crap, he's shooting a movie with an Inspire or a Matrice. But like, I don't know. It just always seemed to be like I like that. Like in their lineup, that just seems to be a necessary. There'd be a big gap to fill if it went away. I mean, if it does, one way or the other. But I don't know. I think like you're saying, like with the part scandal and that kind of thing going on, and now with the batteries being available, the smart controller being able to pair to it's. Maybe they heard us say like what the heck when we heard it was going to disappear. I don't know. I mean, the Phantoms, like that to me is more of their trademark than any of the other ones. Maybe with the Inspire. I mean, it's like if the general public just like draw a drone off of memory, it's probably, I think a lot of them would probably look like a Phantom. So I don't know. Maybe it would just be. Maybe it just wouldn't be a good idea to get rid of it. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't do business like that.
Well, Lauren brought up a great point, and I think this is one of the things that's key for a lot of Phantom 4 owners, especially Phantom 4 Pro owners, is that mechanical shutter, and having that capability is just it's second to none. You know, if you haven't used one before, you need to find a friend who has a Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 and let him, you know, have somebody let you use it and try it. And I'll tell you what, you'll be a believer after you use it. Trust me. Okay. And I think one of the other things too is, you know, having the Phantom 4 Pro, the V2.0 with OcuSync 2.0 on there, the transmission, the range on there is just insane. And the quality of the transmission that comes back, it's just off the charts, you know, compared to Lightbridge. Now, what's real interesting, and I don't know if you know this, Tommy, I know Ron and I have talked about this before, but we had Rick Smith on, and he actually said that it costs more to make Lightbridge than it does to make OcuSync, believe that or not.
Really?
You know, if anybody would know, it's Rick, because he's an electrical engineer. He knows those kinds of things. So, but yeah, with everything, you know, with everything's lining up for a resurgence for this, I mean, it really kind of seems like a no-brainer, you know, with the batteries coming out, with, I'm sure they've gotten new parts suppliers lined up out there that where they're not going to have that scandal that they had before. And, you know, the popularity of this too, they kind of created a demand for it, because one of the other things is, if you go out on eBay, I mean, eBay is about the only place you can find them right now, and they're astronomical. I mean, especially if you try to find a brand new one, they retail for $14.99. Brand new ones probably start at about $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 right now on eBay if you were try to go out and find one. So to get a new one, you know, you probably want to try to maybe find a gently used one. But brand new ones, they're astronomical right now. They're very rare. They're very, very hard. So they're kind of, I mean, you know, they're kind of also creating a little bit of a demand for it as well too. And, you know, and I see it coming back. I see it making a resurgence, because, you know, while, you know, everybody wants the Mavic 2, the portability, you know, is off the charts. It's just so much fun to use. I love it. It's my go-to drone. I mean, you know, when I go traveling, you know, it's going to be in my bag. That's what I'm going to take. But for around here, when I'm trying to get something with that will have just unparalleled video, that Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 is coming out for that.
Yeah. Bill, of course, it has the beloved 4K 60 that so many people seem to need. And real quick before we move on from that, I've been hearing rumors, and these are rumors with a capital R, that the next Mavic, the Mavic 3, which some people think will come out the end of January 2020, will have a mechanical shutter. But again, this is rumor with a capital R.
Well, you know, that would, I would, Ron, I absolutely would not doubt that for a second. I absolutely would not doubt that for a second at all.
But I'm on board with the Phantom 4 V2. If it comes out in October, man, where's my credit card at, Bill?
Marcus is going to be lined up. You know what, Ron and Tommy, I think we're going to have a new rule with Marcus. Okay, I don't know. We probably everybody, a lot of people in the chat know Marcus, and we absolutely love him. Marcus has actually, you know, hit the buy button while he's been online, either on our show or on ZinoNation. So I think we got to institute a new rule, Ron and Tommy. I think maybe, you know, if Marcus hits the buy button, he has to put a quantity of the other number of co-hosts that are in there. So, you know, if there's 3 of us there that night, he's got to buy 4. I mean, I just think that's only fair.
Wow. Hey,
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Hey, Bill, before we wrap up too much here, I want to say that I had a thought. I may be the only person in the world that has flown with both Bill the Drone Reviewer and Tom Polo.
You probably are, Ron. You probably absolutely are.
All our viewers out there, go to either Tommy's channel, YouTube channel, or my channel, and watch the video where we flew at the historic Gabriel Davis Tavern this spring.
Yeah, that was fun.
Great slate. Tom's got much better video than I did, but I got a good video of him flying, though.
Yes, that was a good video. And I got to tell you, Tommy, I had a blast flying with Ron when we went down to the beach down here. There was a pier that was damaged by Hurricane Irma, and it was just in the colors that we had. It was right at sunset. I mean, it just, you couldn't beat it. I mean, it just, I also did a hyperlapse of the sunset with a Mavic 2 Pro, and it was just like,
nice.
Oh my, it was just,
wow.
And what was great was Ron used his GoPro and he mounted it on a tripod and just let it film, and it was fantastic. And it caught my drone. And I got to say this, it was the most perfect thing that I have seen as far as like sun with an object and everything. My Mavic 2 was landing. I did a return to home, and it caught it right at that moment with the sun. It was just like this orange golden glow.
It came down
wow.
right with the sun setting right in front of the sunset or whatever. It was like a Hollywood movie production, you know.
Oh, it was. It was just one of those things you had to absolutely see it to believe it. It was just absolutely fantastic.
And if Tommy would have been there, he could not only filmed it with his Mavic 2 Pro, but I bet you with one of his whoops, he could have whooped right inside that abandoned pier or whatever, probably right through the broken parts of it. People, we keep talking about the Phantom 4, but Tommy is a sensational FPV drone pilot or whatever. I mean, talk about the power loop. I don't even know all the lingo, but watch some of his FPV flying videos on the channel. He's got incredible skills in that set too. I hope you're keeping his skills sharp and not just flying the Phantom.
Oh yeah, no, I like to keep them both.
Yeah. Yeah, good man.
Well, one of the things
awesome.
I also want to let everybody know, we're going to be going to using Zoom meetings. I've made that decision. I know I've talked to Roger, Canadian and Drone Hub, and he absolutely loves it because August 31st or August 1st, Hangouts on Air is going away, and that's what I've used ever since day one on here. But it's going to kind of be transparent to you, but it's really seamless for you as far as the viewer is concerned. But you know, you can get so many more people in the chat than just Google Hangouts will allow you, and I think it's a lot easier. So that's what you're going to be seeing. I'm going to be working on getting that squared up, because otherwise it's just me and I can't have any co-hosts. And I don't know what I'd do without Ron and Marcus here on a weekly basis. But want to go ahead and do our closing here. Tommy, you can go first, Ron, and then myself. Just your closing thoughts about tonight, and you know, anything you want to say to everybody.
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it, Bill. Ron, I really appreciate it. Steve Carpenter, thank you. I seen you throw my YouTube channel out there. I appreciate it. Everybody in the chat, man, thanks for being here. Thanks for tolerating my face while it's been on Bill's channel here, and I look forward to doing this again someday.
Thank you, Tom. And I too want to thank I want to thank you for coming on and sharing, you know, this wealth of knowledge about the Aviator, because you've had your hands on it for a while. I mean, I'm definitely interested in this device. I mean, I don't know if I'm quite ready to hit that buy button and kind of pre-order, but I definitely will keep an eye on you know, on the Aviator and you know, how it works with everybody's drones and how the firmware updates go. I hope they do upgrade it to alleviate the concerns of people that want to use it with the crystal sky, the smart controller, because they need that bright screen. So I definitely think they can get it customized to kind of suit everybody's needs here. And you know, I want to thank Bill for having me on as usual. It was a great show, and I want to promote Bill. He's got a great unboxing video of the Aviator, and I know he's got it just about ready to drop flight review of the Aviator. So I want everybody to you know stay by their computers waiting for that to drop. I'm sure it's going to be you know something you want to see. So I'm going to throw it back to Bill. I think that's kind of all my closing news. I do want to thank Bill for being my co-host last night on ZinoNation. As we said, Marcus, you know, lost his mother recently. So prayers to Marcus, but Bill filled in more than filled Marcus's shoes last night. You know, so I want to thank Bill for that, and I want to promote Bill Thompson's show tomorrow night, Drone Therapy, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm not sure if we're having a guest or not, but I think we're going to do a Zeno type of show because him and John Kuby just got the Zeno recently. And then next week we'll have ZinoNation will be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. Marcus should be back from his little hiatus, and we don't have a guest announced yet, but I'll be announcing it soon. So thanks for letting me ramble on there, Bill, and I'm going to throw it back to you for a closing notes of the evening.
Well, thank you so much. And Ron, thank you so much for having me on last night. I know I literally have incredible shoes to fill when I'm filling in for Marcus, because Marcus is he's one of my favorite people out there, and his passion and his excitement about drones is like second to none. And when he takes a deep dive into things, he really does. And again, our thoughts and prayers continue to be with Marcus and his family at this time. And hope if you're watching tonight, Marcus, hope you're having a great vacation, so to speak, on the way back, and enjoying some time with your wife. That's always very much needed. So, and I want to thank Tommy for coming on tonight. Tommy is just a fantastic guy. It's nice to have him on. You know, he's been great to get to know. I appreciate him. Would definitely like to get him back in the future again. It was just absolutely fantastic having him on. I do have my video coming out. Oh, by the way, I did message Fluidity, and I got back. The discount code is good through the end of August. So that FTA $50BILL is good through the end of August, and that's for, you know, and when you use that code, that means that you got it through watching the show. So, you know, and again, nothing comes to me from that. But, you know, they wanted to be able to pass on to my viewers a discount for that. So I hope you guys do get the Aviator. I think you guys will definitely enjoy that. I do have a video that's ready to drop either tonight or tomorrow morning. It's on my first series of flights with that. I think you guys will really enjoy it. It did take me a while to get it hooked up, because I had to do a lot of editing, because I had several different sources on it, but you guys will enjoy it. I think it'll give you a great feel and look at the experience of being able to fly the FT Aviator, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And I also want to make sure, you know, not to be remiss again, but to thank Scott and everybody at Fluidity Technologies, and also Curtis as well too, for making it possible for me being able to test this. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and you know, I'm gonna be putting it out again this weekend with the Mavic, or with the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, and I'm looking forward to that as well. So, you know, with all this being said, I mean, it's a pretty much of a mouthful. We got some good things coming up as well too, coming up on the channel. You know, I'm trying to get Kelly Shores lined up for next couple of weeks. Definitely want to get him on, and we haven't talked to Kelly for a while. I think last time we did, he was on Bill's show, was on Drone Therapy. So looking forward. It's always good to talk to Kelly. So I'm looking forward to getting him back on. You know, I have a video of the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 takeoff and landing from an incredible perspective. You guys don't want to miss it. So with all of this being said, I want to thank everybody again. And remember, it's a great day to fly. Take care.